In today's lesson, we'll be looking at adding fractions. In your books, could you please write gwaith dosbarth, adding fractions, and today's date. When we add fractions together, we must make sure that the denominators are the same. If you remember, the denominator is a posh word for the number at the bottom of the fraction. So if you take this fraction 1 over 5, the denominator there is 5. If they are the same, then we just add the numerators together. And the numerator is a posh word for the top number. So in this case, in this fraction here, the numerator is 1. It's a quick illustration to show you how and why this works. So in this first circle here, 2 out of the 4 are shaded, so it's 2 quarters. And in the second one, 1 out of 4 shaded, so 2 add 1 is 3, so it's 3 out of 4 shaded, and that's why it's 3 quarters. And you can see we've only added the top numbers. 2 add 1 is 3. However, sometimes the denominators could be different. If that happens, then we need to use equivalent fractions to make them the same. And once the denominator is the same, we can add them like we previously did. Here are some steps to follow. You can use these steps for when adding any type of fraction. So the first step is to find the lowest common multiple, or LCM, of the denominators. Then this would be your new denominator. The second step is to change the fractions into equivalent fractions with the new denominator. Add the numerators, and then simplify your answer if possible. So we have a look at our examples here, and the first one says, well, we have 5 over 7 plus 1 over 7. The first thing to notice, obviously, is that the denominators are the same, so we do not need to worry about finding equivalent fractions. So we can say 5 add 1 over 7 is equal to 6 over 7. The second example, we have 4 over 9 add 2 over 9. And again, the denominators are the same, so that means we can just add our numerators. So we do 4 add 2 over 9, and that's equal to 6 over 9. Now what you might notice is with this question, or the second question, we can actually simplify that fraction. So to do that, we've got to think of what number goes into 6, that also goes into 9. So 3 goes into both of them. So we can divide the top and bottom by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Nothing goes into 2, that also goes into 3, so 2 over 3 is our answer. So our next example, we have a half plus a third. And you'll notice here that our denominators are different, so we need to make them the same. Now the first step is to find the lowest common multiple. So to do that, we look at the first number, so it's 2, and we write out the numbers in the 2 times table. So 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And we do the same thing with the 3. So we have 3, 6, 9, etc. We now need to look for a number that is in the top and in the bottom. And the first number that does that is 6. So that means our fractions will be written with a denominator of 6. So our first step was finding the lowest common multiple, which was 6, and like we said, this would be our new denominator. The second step is to write the equivalent fraction. So here we have 1 over 2, but I want something over 6. Now to do this, we see how many times 2 goes into 6. So that's 3 times, so it's 2 times 3 is 6. And whatever we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. So 1 times 3 would be 3. And here, how many 3's go into 6? Well, it's times by 2. So we do the same to the top number. And 1 times 2 is 2. Now our denominators are the same. We can just add the numerators. So 3 adds 2 is 5. So it's 5 over 6. You do a quick check. Nothing other than 1 goes into these, into 5 or 6. So we can't simplify that fraction. The next question, we have 1 over 4 or a quarter plus 1 over 8. Again, the denominators are different, so we need to make them the same. So we need to find our lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple are 4 and 8. So let's start by writing out the 4 times table. 4, 8, 12, etc. And we have 8, 16, 24, etc. So the first number that is in the top list and the bottom list is 8. So that means our lowest common multiple is 8. And if it's our lowest common multiple, it's our new denominator. So we write all the fractions over 8. Now we need to find the equivalent fraction. So to do that, we look at how many 4's go into 8. There is 2, so we times 2, and we times 2 to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. And the next fraction, 8 times what is 8? How many 8's in 8? That's times by 1. So we times the top number by 1. And 1 times 1 is 1. So the denominators are the same, so we can just add the tops. So 2 add 1 is 3. So our answer is 3 over 8. Nothing other than 1 goes into both of those numbers, so we can't simplify our answer. So the next question, we have 1 over 4 or a quarter plus 1 over 5. Again, denominators are different, so we need to find the lowest common multiple. So we start by writing out the 4 times table. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, etc. And 5 times table. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc. And the first number that goes into, well, that's in the top number, top list, and the bottom list is 20. So that is our lowest common multiple. So our new denominators will be written over 20. And again, we need to work out the equivalent fractions. So 4 goes into 25 times, so we times by 5. So we've got to do the same to the top number. So 1 times 5 is 5, and 5 into 20 is 4. So we times the top number by 4 as well. So 1 times 4 is 4. Denominators are now the same, so we can add the numerators. 5 add 4 is 9. And there is no number other than 1 that goes into 9 and 20, so we can't simplify that answer. The next question, we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 5. So we'll do the same thing again. The denominators are different, so we need to find the lowest common multiple. So we write up to 2 times 7 to begin with. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, etc. And the 5 times table, 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. The first number that's in the top list and the bottom list is 10. So that is our lowest common multiple. So we can rewrite every fraction over 10. We now need to work out the equivalent fractions. So many 2's going to 10, well that's 5. So we times the top by 5 as well. So 1 times 5 is 5. And the next one, how many 5 is going to 10? Well, it's 2, so you times it by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Add the numerators, 5 add 2 gives us 7. So you are left with 7 over 10. The next example is 2 over 3, or 2/3, plus 1 over 6. So let's start by finding the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple, we start with 3, then 6, 9, 12, etc. And it's 6, so it's 6, 12, 18, etc. And the first number that's in the top list and the bottom list is 6. So that means our new denominators will be written, or our new fractions will be over 6. So the next step is to find the equivalent fractions. So only 3 is going to 6, well that's 2. So you times the top by 2 as well. And 2 2's are 4. And the next fraction, how many 6 is going to 6? That's 1. So it's times 1. And times 1. 1 times 1 is 1. And now we can add the numerators together. 4 add 1 is 5. So it's 5 over 6. The next example, we have 2 over 4, or 2 quarters, plus 2 over 6. Let's start by finding the lowest common multiple again. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, etc. And for 6, we have 6, 12, 18, etc. The first number that's in the top list and bottom list is 12. So that means we can rewrite the fractions over 12. Now we need to work on our equivalent fractions. So many 4's go into 12. Well, that's times by 3, because 3 4's are 12. So we times the top number by 3 as well. So 2 3's are 6. And the next one, how many 6's go into 12? Well, that's 2. So you times the top by 2. 2 2's are 4. So we have 6 over 12, add 4 over 12. 6 add 4 is 10. So it's 10 over 12. But you'll notice that we can simplify this fraction. What number goes into both 10 and 12? Well, 2 goes into them. So we can divide them both by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And nothing else goes into 5 and 6, so that's our answer there. And that's how we add fractions together. So remembering the steps. If the denominators are different, well, you find the lowest common multiple of both denominators and then write the fractions over that denominator. The second step is to use your knowledge of equivalent fractions and then add the numerators together. And if you could cancel down or simplify, please make sure you do. Thank you.